Lil Durk's legal team has been pushing hard for his release after his recent court hearing, but things are still looking pretty tough for him. He had his first appearance for the M for Hire case, where his lawyers and the prosecutors presented some new evidence. Unfortunately, despite their efforts, Durk is still stuck behind bars. Right now, there's no chance of him getting bond or bail. The idea of house arrest has been thrown around as a possible alternative, but for now, that's off the table too. What's really shaking things up, though, is the new evidence that's been introduced by the prosecutors. Among the most significant pieces of new information are the statements made by rapper Brick Baby. In his interview, Brick Baby accused Durk of being involved in the LPAB hit, and he didn't hold back. He claimed that no one could deny that Durk was there for King Von, especially right after the PAB situation went down. This accusation is a major twist in the case. If true, it could have a huge impact on how the case unfolds and what the outcome could be. This whole situation is definitely getting more complicated as time goes on. Durk's team is still fighting to get him out, but the evidence is starting to stack up against him. It's tough to say where this will all lead, but one thing's for sure, we're in for more drama and uncertainty. The fact that the prosecutors are now bringing in people like Brick Baby with such strong accusations means this case could take an even darker turn before it's over. We'll have to keep an eye on how it plays out from here.
You just said 5 Chicago gang members with ties to Lil Durk, OTF, accused.
So things are getting pretty intense for Lil Durk right now. If he gets convicted, the consequences could be serious. Some reports are saying flights and rental cars linked to OTF were paid for with credit cards tied to Durk. But the big question everyone's talking about, was this an attempted hit? People are saying you can't say that anymore, especially after the latest developments. There's also talk about FG cash and federal charges in California related to Lil P, and it all somehow ties back to the music scene. But then Brick Baby kind of blew everything wide open. He basically put a huge spotlight on Lil Durk, which might have caught the feds' attention. The room went quiet when he spoke up, but he didn't stop there. He went on to say that if Lil Durk ever asked him for Quando Rondo's location, he would have given it to him, no questions asked. He said, "Why wouldn't I? That's my boy." He lost his boy, and then he added, "If he'd asked me, I probably would have given him the address bold, right?" And then he casually drops, "Can I leak a bar?" "Sure." I said, "If he makes the call right now, I'll send it." On the legal side, things are heating up for Lil Durk. Prosecutors are pushing a strong narrative, arguing that Durk is a danger to the community. Their main argument revolves around the influence his fame and money have on the people around him, suggesting that his status makes others willing to commit crimes on his behalf. This is a tactic that has been used before in high-profile cases, and it's no surprise to see it being applied here. It's not just about the man himself, but the culture he's created around him, the loyalty of those in his circle, and the power his name holds in the streets. The comparison to YNW Melly's case, as Boosie pointed out, rings true here. When the feds have someone in their sights, they won't let go. It's like a waiting game, and the prosecutors are patient. They know that people's connections and actions can be influenced by money and fame, and they're playing the long game to build a case strong enough to bring Durk down. As one person involved in the investigation said, when they want you, they want you. It's not just about the evidence on the surface, but about the network that surrounds him, making it harder for Durk to shake the suspicion. For Durk, this means that the prosecution isn't just looking at him as an individual, they're looking at his whole operation, his influence, and how far that influence extends. The idea is that Durk's power is far-reaching and that he's used that power to incite illegal activities. This adds another layer to the case, making it less about direct evidence of crime and more about the culture of violence and intimidation that can come with fame and wealth. This argument has the potential to hit hard, especially when combined with testimonies from people who have allegedly been influenced by him to act outside the law. The timing of all this is significant. After years of investigation, the feds seem to be ready to make their move, and they've been biding their time for the right moment to take Durk to trial. The case has been brewing for 2 or 3 years now, and things are finally reaching a boiling point. Durk's legal team is working hard to counter these claims, but the prosecution is being relentless in its efforts to present him as a public danger. The challenge for Durk's lawyers will be proving that his influence is not the cause of any criminal actions and that the allegations are just that, allegations without solid evidence to back them up. This situation is escalating quickly, with the prosecutors painting a picture of Durk as a dangerous figure who uses his power for criminal activity. It's clear they're aiming for a high-profile conviction. On the flip side, Durk's team is focusing on showing that his celebrity status doesn't equate to criminal behavior, that he's just a successful artist and not a mastermind behind illegal activities. But as we've seen in other high-profile cases, the battle between perception and reality can get messy, especially when the stakes are this high. This trial is shaping up to be more than just a legal case. It's a reflection of the intersection between fame, power, and crime. The deeper you dig into Durk's life, the more complicated it becomes. It's not just about what he allegedly did, but what the authorities believe he represents. The next few months are going to be crucial as the battle for Durk's future unfolds in court. Fans, the public, and legal experts alike are all watching closely, as this case could have lasting implications not only for Durk but for the way the justice system handles cases involving famous figures. Even though Durk's locked up, he's not staying quiet. He actually made his first public statement since his arrest when Hypnocaro dropped a new track, Free Smirk, but just when it seemed like things might be looking up, reports came out saying that OTF member Jam was hiding out in a house near Atlanta. Word is, Jam got punished for allegedly snitching on Durk. There's even a photo of the scene where Jam was staying. What makes it worse is that old footage surfaced showing Jam acting really suspicious around the team, almost like he was wearing a wire. You can see him checking his jacket constantly, making sure everything's connected. It's rough, especially considering Durk had supported Jam when he got out of his own sentence, even giving him $50,000 in cash. Feels like a real betrayal, and is definitely going to stir things up.
Then it's people like, you lined up somebody from your hood. Like, listen, I didn't. But at the end...
Man, Jam was always one of the most trusted guys in OTF. After he did his time, everyone thought there was no way he'd snitch, but then things went left. Not long after getting out, Jam got arrested again, this time for having a firearm. And since he's a convicted felon, he was looking at possibly doing another 10 years, but there was an option turned federal informant. Jam knew exactly what life behind bars was like, and he wasn't trying to go back. So in a move that shocked everyone, he took the deal. It hit OTF pretty hard. He even shared how grateful he was for Durk's support during his first sentence, saying Durk had his back buying him a house and a car. He said, I just came home, been out for a little over a year, minus 12 years flat, no snitching. So how'd I end up with OTF? We've been down for a minute. Durk's solid. He gave me $50K, no questions asked, just like that. He said, Jam, you don't need to ask me for anything again. When the news dropped, OTF fans couldn't believe it. They were like, this can't be true. Free Durk, but that's the harsh reality of the streets sometimes. The ones closest to you turn on you. But Charleston White, on the other hand, sees this as a win for the rap game. He's saying, I don't think drill rappers will ever get the same love again. Down goes drill rap, 12th round knockout. Looks like they got away with it and are riding off into the sunset. And here's the kicker, Durk kind of saw all this coming. In an interview not too long ago, he opened up about how he's been laying low lately. Honestly, it's not really surprising when you think about it. The man has been through so much in his career, so it makes sense he'd want to keep things quiet for a while. He even mentioned that he stopped letting his friends come over to his house. That's a pretty big change, right? It's like he's trying to protect his peace in the middle of all this chaos. You can tell Durk is fully aware of the situation he's in. Things are changing, and he knows it. When you've been in the spotlight for as long as he has, especially with all the drama and legal stuff swirling around you, it's hard not to notice when the walls start closing in. That said, it's got to be a tricky balance. How do you keep your life private while still being in the public eye? Especially when you're a rapper like Durk, who has so much on the line both personally and professionally. But here's the thing, how long can Durk keep ahead of everything that's going on around him? It's one thing to lay low for a little while, but the pressure is always there. You can't completely escape the spotlight no matter how hard you try. It's only a matter of time before the legal battles, the rumors, and the constant scrutiny catch up with you. And with everything happening in his life right now, you've got to wonder how much longer can he keep this up. The clock's ticking, and it feels like this situation is only going to get more intense as time goes on.
I don't think drill rappers would ever be celebrated ever again. Down goes the drill.
So, in this interview, Durk dropped a bombshell. He said he can tell if someone's going to cooperate against him just 5 seconds into talking to them. Like, imagine that level of awareness. He even hinted that he might have known Jam had switched sides way before anyone else caught on. I can see it from a mile away, he said. People don't realize it, but I can talk to you for 5 seconds and know. By the time you figure it out, it's already too late. Then DJ Academics came out with some wild info. He said the feds had been watching Durk for almost 2 years. He gave a little backstory about it too. I got a tip from an Atlanta journalist. They were onto Durk way before the whole O Block 6 thing went down. Academics even thought Durk was in the clear after that case, but it turns out the feds still had their eyes on him. Once they had enough evidence, the feds made their move. The 5 suspects involved in the hit were arrested, and then Durk was taken in the next night. But here's the crazy part, some details from the case leaked, and it wasn't looking good for Durk. Apparently, the feds had access to all his communications, even his iCloud. They found a message where Durk warned someone not to book flights under his name, but the associate didn't listen. They used Durk's credit card to book a flight anyway, which was a huge mistake. And then things got even crazier. The feds found an old video linking 3 of the suspects to King Von, which only made it clearer that they were connected to Durk. Things were getting pretty real at this point. Now, the Lil Pap situation, that started because of what happened to King Von 2 years ago. Maybe if Quando Rondo had apologized for what went down, Durk would have let it slide. But instead, Quando dropped a diss track, rapping, "Man ran up on me, then we sprayed him. I'm talking lights out, we do the dash in that Durango, jumped out with that pipe out. So tell him to pipe down." That's when Durk, still hurting from losing his best friend, allegedly made a plan. And when people were like, Durk's just a rapper, he won't do anything, he hit back with lyrics like, "They think I won't do something? You can believe whatever you want, but I got your folks hit dot. What do you think about all this?" Was Durk right to take action, or was it just another step in a much bigger game? This whole situation is wild, and it's clear there's a lot more going on behind the scenes.
Nobody is ever allowed to my house. It be my best friend never been to my house.
For real?
So, after Durk got his revenge for Von, Quando Rondo went off and started dissing Von even more. He dropped some wild lines like, "My favorite op gone, his sister talks too much, no, I don't like her. El Timmy rolled her brother up, got stepped on in some Nike kicks." But the real shocker was when Durk dropped that line on a feature Look on the News and see your son screaming, "No, no." That line hit hard, basically making fun of Quando's reaction to the hit. You can picture it, a passenger freaking out in the car, terrified at what was happening. But here's the twist, even with all the noise around Durk, fans got a bit of reassurance when reports came out about how he's handling things in jail. Apparently people inside say Durk is super chill and even charming. The only thing he's really complaining about, the food, go figure. And then YSL Woody, yeah, the same guy known for his history, had something to say about Durk's situation. He was like, "I'm not saying Durk's guilty, but when life's going good for you, why risk it all? The best revenge for King Von is to take care of his kids. We're out here hurting each other for what? What's done is done." That really made you think, right? Just when you think things can't get any more intense, enter Kodak Black's lawyer, Bradford Cohen, who throws a curveball into the whole situation. His take on the case? He's not so sure the feds have a solid case against Lil Durk. Cohen straight up says, "I wouldn't say it's a slam dunk for the feds. There's still a long way to go before they can prove anything that's a major statement, especially considering how serious these charges are." If Cohen's right, the whole case could take a completely different turn. Think about it, this is far from being a clear-cut situation. It's one thing for the feds to make a claim, but it's another for them to actually prove it in court. This could be a waiting game where the prosecution still has a lot of hurdles to clear before they even come close to securing a conviction. For Durk, that's a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, he could beat this case and walk away from all the drama that's been following him around. But what makes this even more intriguing is the uncertainty that comes with it. We all know how quickly things can change in high-profile cases like this. One new piece of evidence, one unexpected turn, and the entire situation could flip on its head. That's why we're all still on edge, waiting to see where this goes. Right now, it's too early to make any assumptions about Durk's fate, and that keeps us hooked. The fact that this case is still unfolding, with so many twists and turns ahead, makes it clear that the story isn't over yet. We're all in for a long ride, and we'll have to see how this all shakes out.
The search is on for 3 people who police say at a Savannah rapper, a member of his entourage.
So we're all wondering, what other evidence do they actually have? Do they have someone on the inside ready to spill? Maybe they've got tapes or videos where Durk says something that could change everything. Because honestly, that's a whole different situation than just telling someone, "Don't tie me to this." What if he was just trying to warn them, like, "Hey, don't bring my name into this," especially if he wasn't involved at all? This could go a lot of different ways. Right now, it's still early to say they've got Durk locked down. It's not looking like a slam dunk. The feds need real, solid proof. And let's not forget, good lawyers know how to work with the evidence the feds have. They might twist it in a way that could actually help Durk get out of this. If Durk does manage to beat the case, the whole situation shifts into another level of complexity. We'd likely see things play out in ways we didn't expect. It's not just about whether he walks free, it's about what happens next. Lawyers and experts in these types of cases understand that if the feds really want someone, they'll offer deals that make it hard to say no. But these deals aren't just handed out to anyone. They're strategic, targeting people who are crucial to the case, but not so deeply involved that they're seen as untouchable. The feds will usually start by going after the low-hanging fruit, the person who might not have the strongest connection to the crime but knows enough to offer them what they need. It's like peeling an onion layer by layer, starting with the softer ones that won't make too much of a mess. This is where the pressure really starts to build. You have individuals who might not be as deeply involved in the criminal side of things, but they're still close enough to the core to have valuable information. If they can convince one of them to flip, it could unravel everything. And from there, it's just a matter of who folds first. The moment one person cracks, it sets off a chain reaction. That's when the real game begins. They'll offer deals to the ones who could have the most impact, the ones who are either scared or willing to cooperate to save themselves. But if the first person refuses, the feds move on to the next target, always looking for that one person who will cave. It's a waiting game, and the tension builds up as each individual has to decide if they want to take the deal and walk away with something, or risk it all and stay loyal to the group. But here's where things get really interesting. This isn't just about the money or escaping the case. There's a whole other dimension to it, one that has to do with power, status, and future opportunities. For people in positions like Durk's, it's never just about walking away from a charge. It's about how this case could affect their career, their public image, and the people they are connected to. If Durk walks, it could open doors for him in ways that we might not even be able to predict right now. Maybe he uses this experience to build more trust with his fans, to prove his resilience and loyalty in the eyes of the public. Or maybe it leads to a bigger downfall where the people who stuck by him start questioning his actions. The stakes go beyond just staying out of jail. This is about who has the power to control the narrative. Durk's reputation, his future, and his ability to navigate the fallout from this case could define his career for years to come. And that's not just limited to him. Anyone involved in this case will be weighing their options carefully, because it's not just about doing the time or taking the deal, it's about what comes next. So as we wait to see who cracks first, we also have to consider what happens to everyone involved after the dust settles. Who will rise and who will be left behind? How will this whole situation reshape the dynamics within the circle they're all part of? The consequences of this case could go far beyond the courtroom, and we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg right now. The drama is only just beginning, and it could get a whole lot messier before it's all over.